Happy Moon Day, and happy Black History Month. This Black History Month, I challenge you to watch an old movie from the Black Hollywood days. Back in the 70s, for some reason, there was a lot of black movies produced. Over the course of the decade, 200 movies were produced. Okay? And yeah, I've watched like 35 or 36 different movies, and I wanted to make a review of it. It took me like a little over 2 months to watch all these movies, and that was unexpected, but here we are in Black History Month, and I finally finished watching the movies. So I also read this book as a part of trying to understand what the history, the context of each movie being produced. This is Black Caesars and Foxy Cleopatras, a history of blaxploitation cinema. Now, real quick, I want to get into the history. I want to tell you my top 10 favorite movies, recommendations, and honorable mentions. But the reason why the movies in this era are called exploitation movies is because they were actually low budget films. So Big Hollywood said that these movies were exploiting the viewership, because it shouldn't be that movies are created on the cheap. Okay, it shouldn't be that way, and therefore the viewers are being exploited, right? So, and then the term blaxploitation was coined by the NAACP, trying to get black people away from supporting these movies, saying that they were derogatory and just not good enough and all that. As for that, can someone give this to the NAACP for me? They need some of this until they apologize for their part in destroying Black Hollywood. Because these movies, like I said, I've seen 35, and only one of them was really, really bad. But these movies are the biggest expression that a group of artists ever has. Movies are huge, okay? And they give audience a chance to see themselves, a chance to dream bigger, or I didn't see them, do anything to legalize weed, for example, which was used to harass, the average black person, So they're not very progressive. They never apologized for their part in destroying Black Hollywood, and they never expressed our fatigue about all these slavery movies, the slave exploitation movies. Neither did they denounce Roots, which, thanks to this book, I realized on a deeper level what Roots is. I only recognize one white character, Archie Bunker, when I watched Roots long, long ago. But essentially they wound up at the end of this wonderful era of producing a lot of the movies. They wound up taking all the beloved white characters that were known and making them slave masters, and then taking all these powerful people who came up during this Black Hollywood era and making them enslaved. And that's what we in the conscious community call a spell. Okay? Yeah. So movies are important, right? They cast a spell, they cast a dream, and you get the satisfaction of seeing some things being moved and some things being achieved. One last thing about history that I want to say before I get into my top 10. Um, these movies, I just want to say prior to these movies, um, you only saw black people as this kind of, well, the mammy types, right? And the acquiescent servant types were the only types seen on TV and in movies. Um, that was changed dramatically for the better with the influence of these movies. It all seemed to start with this French man named Van Peebles, right? So he came from France, and I I don't know if he was speaking over the phone about how he wanted to make black movies. I don't know how. I got a conspiracy theory about this, but I don't know if they knew his intention was to make black movies, but they welcomed him into Hollywood as a producer or director, I believe as a director, who was going to make movies, and they were going to finance him, and they welcomed him, and they rolled out the red carpet, and here comes this black man. That was unexpected. But was it expected that he was going to make black movies? I think he would have let them know this. And if they were interested in making black movies and they wanted the French take, the French to breathe life into this whole era that was about to pop off, that was planned by these producers, there's, I don't know. I would like to know what that conversation was, or these conversations were. Anyway, so Van Peebles, he was the one who really kicked off the era of the 1970s Black Hollywood. Okay, but yeah, French people, they're just, super perverted, right? They're super perverted. Anyway, I do think that it was kind of good, to introduce the sex appeal, because with sex you get a whole bunch of other very real dynamics, right, that come along, from being sexless character. Okay, now you're introducing charm, charisma, presence, attraction, the things you're attracted to, the things that you're not attracted to, things you say yes to, the things you say no to. You're introducing a whole lot more dynamic emotions and behaviors and morality. When it comes to this, you're introducing a whole new level of cool, right? That's the one who's a sex machine to all the ladies, all that coolness, right? So Van Peebles really kicked that off. Unfortunately, I was not able to get a hold of any Van Peebles movies, especially not the ones that are rated X. Okay. By the way, if you're looking for these movies, please, I hope you are. You can find these movies on DVD at the library if you cannot find them streaming on like Roku or something. And Netflix, I'm not impressed with their old black movie selection, right? They don't have nothing but Dolomite, I believe. Or what was it? Monkey Hustle? Whatever that is. Anyway. So, yeah, Van Peebles really seemed to kick off the era, and he even brought, his own artistry, which all these movies, I think they all brought a lot to the table that was copied later on. And if anything, the exploitation part was exploiting the novelty of all these new ideas, new expressions, and cultivating it, and all these new ideas, and just, you know, tapping into that and perhaps copying it slash stealing it, you know, for the future, you know, just, you know, um, if anything, the exploitation was in that, gathering all these artists to express themselves so fully and so, like, from the heart, like privately, you know, like deeply. Gather all these artists and give them just a little bit of money, not too much money to be overboard. So these movies, MGM was a heavy producer of these movies. So these movies, they would cost $250,000 up to $1 million typically. And then they would go ahead and generate revenue 8 million and more, sometimes less. But Hollywood was making their money back, and they were farming talent and ideas and things like that, storytelling, music, how to make characters look cool. You know, they're all this talent, all these things come together. Anyway, I just want to get into it now. What are my top 10 movies? So, darn. Oh shoot. One more bit of history. So I saw this this documentary, Summer of Soul. It's funny how they just they get tunnel vision on the subject that they're producing, right? Because in 1969, just before the Black Hollywood era kicked off, Black society everywhere was just boiling mad. Martin Luther King was assassinated, JFK was assassinated, Malcolm X was assassinated, among others, you know. Gosh, I know I'm forgetting that important name, but Black people were boiling, and this documentary points out that during the same moment, right, the same weekend, the same week that what is that called? Woodstock was going on, that New York City put on a free concert for Black people to calm them down. Well, it wasn't just that. In 1969, Hollywood stepped in and began making movies. And like I said, 210 years, that's a lot of investing slash harvesting going on right there. You know, the harvesting of the talent. And by the way, NAACP, it made the perception of Black people way more informed and way better than it was, and actually shaped the future of TV. And the last bit of history, what ended the era, they say, Hollywood says, was spending $30 million. Okay, they went from 1 million, and suddenly they just decided, let's spend $30 million on The Wiz. Wasn't a good movie. It's not a fun movie. And it made $20 million back. It wasn't like it was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the only straw. But Hollywood just threw up their hands. They said, that's it. Let's just not make Black movies anymore. Black people will go out to see Jaws. Black people will go out to see E.T. Why make Black movies anymore? we can't touch it anymore. We can't touch it anymore. And then black people had, a few black television shows. So I guess black people may not have been really missing out on what was going in the theater after all. But we had a full, robust Hollywood happening. Full expression. Artists coming together. The score, the acting, directors, the cameramen, everyone, the whole production, that's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of talent. That's a lot of full, vibrant expression. Anyway, okay. Top 10. Okay. My number one. Lady Sings the Blues. Okay? And like I said, I got all my DVDs from the library. So all you have to do is go in and ask, and if they don't have it, they can actually get it from another library, necessarily. Okay, but Diana Ross is in Lady Sings the Blues, and this is a good movie. She's so talented. The story is so interesting. It's based on Billie Holiday. Okay, Billie Holiday's real life story. And it's very sad. It's just an amazing story, and it's nothing like the redundant movies that are kind of rather washed. It's kind of like a memorial service, It's clean, and it's washed of all of their struggles, except for the struggles, that are typical or the struggles with racism, except for the struggles with racism. Here in this movie, she struggles with racism, but that makes her, in turn, struggle with drugs, unfortunately. But it's a really interesting story. She steps away from it, but she loves singing. But it's also stressful. So it's one powerful story about how even when you find yourself at the top, even if you love what you do, unfortunately, love is not enough. Lady Sings the Blues. That was a good movie. Really good, excellent movie. My number 2 movie. I really love cowboy movies. So, excuse me. There's a sticker, because it actually came from a library that's not my library. Anyway, this is Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte in Buck and Preacher. Let's see if I can get this off with one hand. Buck and Preacher. I love cowboy movies, and this movie had me saying things in front of my children that I shouldn't have been saying, like, I guess you gotta kill them all then. Powerful storytelling, it should suck you in and make you involved. Like, you can't be neutral when a story unfolds. You're on a side, and you're cheering for the good guys. These good guys actually at the end become outlaws. I'm like, no, Sidney Poitier, don't become the bad guy. You can't do that. But yeah. Anyway, they're the good guys. They gotta kill them all, and then they become outlaws. It's a good movie. Very enjoyable. Good action. I was explaining to my boy, you gotta take the high ground. You see, and in these instances, it was too much, too good, very excellent. My third, my third favorite movies, I got a tie. They're very, very beautiful, cinematically, very well done. The story, and yeah, it pulls at your hearts and emotion. The can't see it. The Learning Tree. That's a pretty great movie. It's about a boy and he's in the country, and yeah, there's a lot of ugly lawlessness, but he's a good boy himself, and there's a lot of ugly lawlessness. I can't even describe why I like the movie, but it just gives you a taste of life out in the country, and it's very well done, cinematic wise. The other movie is by a very prolific, let's see, director from the Black Hollywood days, Losing Ground, and the director is Bill Gunn. I think his name is Bill. His last name is Gunn. Darn, can't find it quick enough. But this movie, and Bill Gunn is actually also an actor, so he's in this movie too. This movie, it's not only just cinematic, but it's pretty poignant. It's about this woman, and she is just really not appreciated in her relationship. This couple, they just don't match each other, right? And they're just trying to just continue because that's what you do when there's nothing like really wrong, but there is something wrong, and they're not paying attention. The lack of appreciation and the wandering eye of the boyfriend. But she does find appreciation in the movie, and you see that she does have everything that he's complaining against, and it's just a really good movie called Losing Ground. Now, my fourth favorite movie, it's really great. I love it. I love it so much. So this is called Scream, Blacula, Scream. And that's Mamwalde. And he's a black prince turned vampire. This is actually the second one. I watched the first one. I thought it was pretty cool. I watched the second one. The second one's even better. And yeah, he's brought back to life by she's a famous black Hollywood actor. She is Coffee, and I forgot her name. I'm not good with names, but she does, let's see, Coffee, and gosh, she's in a bunch of movies, especially where she's like a cop or investigator. She kicks butt, takes names, arrests bad guys. She's the hero in a lot of action movies from this era. But yeah, she's the voodoo queen, and she brings back. Oh wait, no, she doesn't bring him back. Anyway, there's voodoo. So it's a pretty great movie, pretty interesting, very fun to watch. So I tied that with Blacula, the first one, and also there's another. I didn't know where to place it. I'm not going to put it in my top 10 just because it's so weird, but it's pretty great, and I'm glad I watched the whole thing because this movie is very artistic by Bill Gunn, the director. He's also in this movie. He put himself in this movie as well. This is Ganja and Hess. Sorry for the sticker. Ganja and Hess. It's very artistic, kind of rather hard to follow, but if you like horror movies and you like those strange cult kind of movies, it's also a vampire movie, a horror movie called Ganja and Hess. And yeah, it's just a totally different, totally new, totally artistic take. Yeah, and when the producers said they wanted a more traditional vampire, Bill Gunn threw a chair at a window or out a window or across the room. He was just like, "You can't change my artistry. You're not taking it from me." He was very insistent that it had to be this weird kind of way. And allegedly, Ganja and Hess was remade into a movie called The Blood of Jesus Christ. The Sweet Blood of Jesus Christ by Spike Lee. So you could check that out too. But just know that the original is Ganja and Hess. But yeah. Scream, Blacula, Scream. That is a good movie. Very fun to watch. I love it. I love it. And then I saw a movie that I saw when I was young. So I saw this on TV. Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars. That's my number 5 favorite movie. I was very happy to be able to watch it again and remember it, you know? It was good to see it again. And shout outs to like artists who are gonna make things, you know, that you can share with your children. It can't really be a classical movie or film unless you can share it with your kids, you know? Now some of these, you know, they're adult and it's really great. I mean, like my top pick was adult, but this movie, Buck and Preach, I enjoyed it with my whole family. And you know, a lot of these movies, they have cursing and nudity, and it's less enjoyable and it's less of a classic because you can't share it with your children. You know, anything you can share with your children is going to last generationally. That's all I wanted to say about that for all you artists out there. Okay, and Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars, unfortunately, it had one scene where Richard Pryor is trying to get, you know, a whore. It's like, why? Why did you have to have that in the movie? You know, it was classic. And then you had to have shenanigans about him being chased all around. Anyway, this is a really fun movie. One of the kids' favorites. And like I said, you know, it was very nostalgic for me. So I appreciated seeing that again. Let's see, where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My 6th pick, top 6. Mahogany, also with Diana Ross. That, and also with, gosh, what's his name? Billy D. Williams in the middle. Oh, this is James Earl Jones and Richard Pryor is over here. But Mahogany has Diana Ross, and it's definitely one of the top 10 movies. It's well done. It's interesting. It's very adult. You see them get these two, Diana Ross and Billy D. Williams. They get together, and then they wind up being apart. Even in my top pick, Lady Sings the Blues, they're also a couple in that movie. They always get together and then they always wind up apart. But yeah, Mahogany, they get together, they wind up apart. She does her, right? In this movie, she's not supported by the one that she wants to be with, but she won't be drowned by him. She won't lose her dreams to support his dreams. And that's interesting and empowering. And yeah, you go, girl, live your life. You know, that's a good movie. That was a good movie. Um, let's see. It's good drama. Let's see. Yeah. So, my seventh pick is Claudine. Claudine. It's a pretty good movie. It's just about, and it's a good time capsule. I saw some things that you wouldn't believe about the way the welfare system was handled back then and how nosy they were to come in your house and ask if your boyfriend's been buying you gifts or presents for you or your children and make deductions about it. It was pretty crazy, but never mind that. I mean, not never mind it, because these are all time capsules of an era. But none shows you, like, typical life so well as this, Claudine, right? Typical life of, just like, not boring, but like just so regular, right? So regular. And so she has a lot of kids, but then she meets James Earl Jones, and he's just really enthusiastic about her. They get together, and it's just an interesting movie. It's just an interesting movie to watch, and it's also fun. It's also fun. It's interesting. It's a good time capsule. And then fun, actiony, super cool, Superfly. I love Superfly, especially at the end when I wanted to say a lot of these movies, they always, no matter what they are, they always touch on that element of that revolutionary element that was running through the 70s. They never forget to mention it, usually. Let's see, in like all these movies. Even like Blacula, as far as I remember. Okay, maybe not Losing Ground, but in all the movies they mention, there's a drive going on. No matter what you're doing, someone in the background, you're not far away, far removed from someone with some revolutionary ambitions, revolutionary ideas, revolutionary ideals, right? So this one is like the first one that is like the most tangible, like how he protected himself at the end. Superfly is great because he wanted to get out of being the pimp, right? He wanted to get out of it, and he wanted to do other things, and he found a way to get out of the game, even though, some people were pressuring him or even going to end his life from wanting to get out because he knew too much about being in, right? So I like the movie. It's pretty good. And it has a lot of great funky music. That's another thing about most of these movies. They all have funk. I mean, mostly. Lady Sings the Blues has blues. Beautiful singing by Diana Ross. And let's see. So number 9, it's funny, but these movies, well, this one, I had it as number 1, Uptight. It's a revolutionary movie, specifically. That's the entire subject. That's the entire theme. I had it as number 1 until I started seeing more movies. And then I'm like, well, the movies, they can be fun, they can be light, but I thought I liked it, and then I saw more movies, and it just kind of fell down to number 9. Especially after seeing what I'm going to tie it with. Uptight. It's a good movie. It's worth seeing. It's pretty good. It's interesting. But I'm tying it with The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which is a super revolutionary movie, right? Everyone is like, this is the film that would not be televised, right? The revolution will not be televised. This shouldn't have been televised. This and this and this. Oh, this movie, is a dangerous movie. Because it tells you how to have a revolution. Well, after watching it, I was so disappointed that I just cried. It's not how to have a revolution. This is how to be a successful terrorist. And it made me cry on 2 accounts, because not only is it just shiftless or aimless, like, oh, we're gonna have, revolution or terrorist activities from Chicago to LA to Georgia, right? Just all over the place, scattered, pointless, aimless, shiftless, just kind of rather dumb. Like, sure, they showed you how to do it, yeah, and in a smart way, but what was the goal? Unmentioned. It's frivolous. So much frivolous activity, and yet it also made me cry, because he says in the movie, you really gotta want that freedom, and you fight and fight and fight, and with no goal, and you don't give up fighting. That's what they say in the movie. And I'm like, what would black people fight and fight and fight and never give up for? And I'm like, what would they? What? Yeah. So like, it made me cry on that account too, because I don't think that black people are willing to fight and fight and fight and never give up for years on end for anything. So it kind of made me sad, but I shall recover. I shall recover. But yeah, it didn't make me feel too good about, but like I've always said, Florida and Georgia as separate and sovereign states could just be, what is it called? Call it reparations. Yeah. Call it reparations. Totally necessary. Can't be anything else. Call it reparations. In the same ilk, I just want to add, just to mush the NAACP's face in it. They say that these movies were embarrassing because they made it sound like it was all pimps and poverty. Or did they mind poverty? They don't mind the slave movies. Do they mind poverty? Anyway, everything they said was not true. Anyway, so I wanted to say that these make fun of revolution, the revolutionary aspects and ambitions of black people in the 70s. Rage in Harlem with little casting couch, what's her name? Robin Givens. That's a gross image. Gross images ahead from, the minds of Weinstein. Um, what's it could never be bad to have your own artists, you know, make their expression. I mean, it could be bad, but it could never be worse than when someone else makes an expression for you. And Rage in Harlem is so much like another movie that I saw. What did I see? But I wound up looking it up, and it was written by the same author. And that's the thing. Some of these actually are written by black authors who had to flee to France, to actually publish their works and books, because it's not something American publishers wanted people to see. So these black movies from the 70s, from Black Hollywood, they were picking up books like from Himes and Richard Wright and Langston Hughes and all these other black authors who had to go to France, and they all became they all became a part of like the expatriate coffee club. They were all there for the same reason. But these movies were revolutionary, and they picked up their stories and they made them into, this is another movie I don't like. Anyway, they picked up those stories and made them into movies, which is a glorious thing and a progressive thing to do. But Rage in Harlem and Ragtime. This is the stupidest movie. I mean, the spook who sat by the door it made me sad with his aimlessness. But this is just people being terroristic and just like nowhere. This is making fun of just like this is disgraceful. This is disgraceful. Okay, it could never be as disgraceful as letting someone else tell your story. Okay? These are good compared to those movies. Okay, The Spook Who Sat by the Door and Uptight. And my number 10, which could be confused with my number 9, my top number 9 choice. But definitely great movie. So Sidney Poitier, he got together with Bill Cosby. All right. And even he got together with Harry Belafonte again to make Uptown Saturday Night. That was a good movie. Okay, and Sidney Poitier, you see, he had been an actor long before Black Hollywood began in the 70s. And he had begun to direct movies. He had begun to produce movies. And I don't know if he became a writer. But when he became more at the helm and in charge of the direction of his career, what did he do? He wanted to have more fun. And this really is what changed the trajectory of my top 10 movies and shifted the movies that were more fun up to the top. Because it was important to him, right? And he made great movies and they were fun. And that's what movies are for, right? NAACP and their seriousness and that horrible movie, The Wiz. Okay, they did it for noble reasons, right? Let's be noble and make a $30 million movie. And, no, that's the last straw. The first straw is the last straw. No. just have fun. Be an artist. Have fun. Was this movie fun? Yes. And they did it again. It's a good movie. He went in, and the second part is let's do it again. Good movie. Funny movie. Fun to watch. Ridiculous. Fun shenanigans. These are my number 10. But some honorable mentions. Lilies of the Valley. Sidney Poitier. This was way before Black Hollywood in the 70s. Way before. And Sidney Poitier, he's famous for doing movies with all-white casts, where he's the charming, wonderful guy, wonderful black guy, above reproach, honorable, never do anything wrong, funny to watch. White audiences loved him. They loved seeing him. They loved him in the movie. But when he took charge of his own career, he wanted to do the black things, and he wanted to have fun, and he wanted people to have fun with him. All right. He wanted to be more lighthearted and less about, representing, carrying the whole race and being a credit to his race and all this serious, being perfect, which is a level of silliness, right? He wasn't about that. And also, so I watched one more movie that was a black movie, totally black, mostly. This is Miracle in Harlem. And it's a old black and white black movie. And it actually has Stepin Fetchit. So this is like a character that a comedian came up with. It's pretty funny. He's kind of like the Three Stooges if they were more about verbal and less about hitting. Is kind of like Lucille Ball's Lucy. I Love Lucy, but it rolled into one man. So he was an interesting character, not embarrassing. It's just, when you see him, when you hear him speak, it just makes you smile, makes you laugh. So this is a old movie, and what I wanted to say about it, is, I saw the whole sexlessness, the whole just kind of a neutral aspects in action, just these are the two black and white movies. Everyone's just kind of it was less vibrant and less lively, and I could see what the era of the 70s was bringing. It was bringing a lot more life to every aspect of the production, the writing, the music, the filmography. There was a lot more style and a lot more swag in these later films. But shout out to being an artist and having fun with your craft, and forget the critics. Critics, are not people who are making the art. Forget them. So that's my top 10. That's the whole list. And now I want to make some honorable mentions, because like I said, all these movies are good. Here I wanted to get 3 the hard way, but they sent me 4 movies, so I watched them all. And one of them, it kind of blew me away. I was so surprised by it. Let's see, we got Hot Potato. That's a borderline awful movie, right? But my littlest girl, she liked the movie, and I think I remember seeing it when I was little too, and I kind of liked it. You know, it has a weird guy named Rhino. He's fat and he's comical, right? But the star of this is Jim Kelly. Okay, he's from he's from Enter the Dragon, so he's a martial artist, and he started movies with Bruce Lee, right? So he's a big deal, and you know, he was doing the martial artist portion of Black Hollywood, you know, and let's see, Three the Hard Way is pretty funny. You have guys with guns, and then you know, when it's time to do hand to hand, guys with guns don't shoot, and then he can do his karate. No different, no worse, no better than a a Bruce Lee film, right? This is the same ilk, the same stuff, the same material, but black people, and unfortunately, it's so true. When the NAACP shames the audience and says, "Oh, you shouldn't like this," oh my gosh, oh, look at everyone's looking at us, looking at this movie. You think you like this stuff? It's so embarrassing. Black people do get feeling ashamed and drop their stuff, and it's not good. It's not the right thing to do. Do not let anyone shame you out of making your art, and do not let anyone shame you out of enjoying the art. Enjoy the art if it's fun and if it's good, and if it speaks to you. Enjoy the art and get what you're getting out of it. Get your dreams. Um, it was. It took a while, like, for it to start to show you what the movie was really about. You know, what was making this movie special. You know, I don't know if it was like 3/4 of the way through or 2/3, but it took a while for me to realize that this movie was really special, and what this movie was really trying to convey. But once I saw it, I was like, oh, and I was enjoying the movie. I'm like, oh, yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. It really surprised me at the end. It's definitely the best in this collection of four. It's not really an action movie. I guess there's some action. Yeah, he beats people up with that little staff, Staffington. All right, so let's see. Then there's some action movies I wanted to give an honorable mention to. I kind of put them in the same category and like 10.5, rank number 13. Shaft. I wanted one. I got all three. I watched all three. There's also 8 episodes that were excuse me, that were seen on TV. Right? I didn't get the show. It would have been nice to see, Shaft without nudity, and that would have been better for my sensibilities. But as far as Shaft goes, and I'm tying it with Black Caesar, and I'm tying it with Friday Foster, Wham Bam, thank you, Pam. And I'm tying it with Detective Series by Sidney Poitier. They Call Me Mr. Tibbs. And The Heat of the Night. I'm tying them all together because, unfortunately, one of these is already a remake, Black Caesar. It's just like these action movies, and I thought, man, it's just these action movies are just kind of cliche, already been done before, detective series kind of movies, and yeah, when I was watching them, I was just like, oh, I just can't get into action done in this era. This was pretty good. It was pretty good. I just can't get into action in this era. I was worried. But I did get into the action in the era. My number 2 selection is Buck and Preach, right? That was a good movie, and it had action. But yeah, when it came to these movies, it's just like, are they special? If they're special to you, if you want to watch a good movie, if you want to watch the action movie, these are good movies. But it's just, how common is the detective story? They made a whole show about the heat of the night, which this movie, I don't like to see Sidney Poitier all by himself in a town. So, he's even a cop, and he's having a tough time, doing a better job doing the job that is adequate, but a better job than they're doing. They need him, and it's just like, are they going to take good care of him? Are they going to protect him? I don't like to see him in danger like that. I don't like it. I don't like to see him harassed, mistreated. But anyway, that I don't like. But the others I do like. It's good action, good mystery, and everything's resolved at the end. Cool. But yeah, like I said, it's just common for today. TV shows about detective series, murder mysteries, blah blah blah, whatever. This Space is the Place with Sun Ra. That was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. It's one of the more artistic movies. I liked it. It was interesting. Like, still has unnecessary nudity that takes away from the movie, makes it unshareable with my children, but it's a good movie, worth watching. The Beast Must Die. Sorry about the sticker. But yeah, this is a black movie. And yeah, there's a werewolf about. I like horror movies. It's fun to watch. Not such a great movie, but entertaining. It's entertaining. And the last few movies that I saw Stir Crazy. Not too crazy about that, but after watching this, I don't know if IG was watching it with me secretly. This whole prison rodeo thing is still a thing today. So I guess it was a thing back then when this movie was made. But yeah, prisoners were used to provide dangerous entertainment, and there still are in one state's left. Dangerous entertainment, rodeo style. That is messed up. And prizes are offered, and you get to sit with your family, but you have to risk your life, risk getting gored by a bull. And yeah, that's disgustingly inhumane and awful. And who's making money off of it? The prisons are. The prisons are making the most money off of it. Car Wash. Sorry about the stickers. Not as fun as I remember. Shout outs to the Shark's Tale. That was fun. This, I'm like, I thought it was fun, guys. I'm sorry. That's what I told my children. I thought it was fun. I'm sorry. Cooley High. The Boys in the Hood's predecessor. Not a fan. Not a fan. This is bad messaging. This is bad messaging. Two kids having more than Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Way more criminal, just criminal activity. I thought the making out was pretty funny, but and then it all ends in death. Very tragic. Not a fun watch. I know this is gonna have sentimental value to some people. Throw this away with Boyz in the Hood. No, we don't need to watch that. We don't need kids to idealize it and try to live that life. No thanks. No thanks. I don't like it. And one bad movie, the one horrible movie that I saw that should have never been made. Like those movies, it's like, eh. But this is the worst one of the worst movies I ever seen. Petey Wheatstraw, the devil's son-in-law. I should have known, but I didn't know. I didn't know I was gonna give it a chance. And it says here is of the Dolomite collection. Yeah, this movie is really awful. It's really awful and really, really embarrassing. Almost as embarrassing, I forgot to say, as the NAACP's head official throwing fat Jesse Jackson over his chair on TV. Yeah, Google that. That's on YouTube. That's on YouTube. Shout outs to the NAACP. Anyway, I wanted to close with an important message. Someone wrote a Miles Morales like fanfic. It's totally a real novel approved by Marvel and everything. It was called Suspended, okay? And they brought up the greatest thing that I ever heard. Never mind what the book's about, but okay. The thing that I heard was that it wasn't so much that they didn't want black people to read. You know, when they didn't educate, you know, black people when black people were enslaved. It wasn't so much that they didn't want them to read. It's so much that they didn't want them to write. Writing would have been so powerful, to write your story, to write what's happening, to connect with more people than you could ever connect with normally. Like these days we have our videos, right? But writing would have been more powerful, and writing would have also preserved our culture. So that's also a piece of what I'm saying when I'm saying, you know, let the artists express themselves. Not just for the time capsules, but for expression itself, which I said in my other video is a form of war. Asserting yourself is a form of war. Anyway, honorable mention to Princess Mononoke. I just saw it the other day with my children. I thought they were mature enough. They are. Whatever. It's cool. But Princess Mononoke, it is so rich. I don't think I could meet a person who didn't value this, and want to watch it over and over again. I've met so many people, it fills up your empty cup, because it's got so many different levels and layers of what's going on. And in Western storytelling, you have always this bland good guy versus bad guy thing going on. And just this bland, everyone's this, right? Everyone's American, basically, is what they're saying. Show me one layer. This, you have multiple layers going on, and I like to think that, you know, the people that I know that became so addicted is because the ancestors are saying that's how we indigenous lived here in America. With multiple layers. We had the people who were, what is it called? We had the people who were tribal. And then Princess Mononoke here, she's an anarchist. Okay, she's totally without government. We had the people who were federal, right? The the 5 civilized tribes. We had the people who were tribal. We had people who were anarchists, and they're all coming together with their own version of spirituality, of what's important, their own morality, their own ambitions, and you know, they're coming together in war, explicitly. But even like I just said, self-expression is a war. I know that in America, the indigenous lived, and they have many different layers of culture. So it's really nice to see the Japanese depictions of what ancient life was like. And I think that will resonate with anyone who just like loves ancient cultures and wants to see the different layers coming together. Not one flat, solid mass of, okay, that's that people, and they're having maybe a conflict with that people, or maybe an internal conflict, or maybe man versus nature, or all these flat-ass storytelling. Anyway, sorry. I forgot what I wanted to say. But yeah, express yourself, because like you're gonna resonate. Your art, if you're an artist, it's gonna resonate with someone, and resonate who you resonate with, and never mind the critics. And NAACP, mind your own business, and everyone enjoy what they enjoy. And that's all I wanted to say, I guess. Anyway, this has been a really long video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you check out some of these old movies for yourself. And if you have any recommendations, which I should have said at the beginning,